Hey everyone, a warm welcome back. It's Dim here.
Oh, and my name's Kedge. I wasn't expecting that.
Everyone, welcome back to Namaste Rich number 12, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Kedge? We
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think that's right. I think that's right.
Um,
Ooh, man.
yeah, me and Kedge just as we always do, we just turned on the Zoom and then we are like started to talk and then it was getting really good and we're like, dude, we need to shut up. Let's get to the podcast. Kedge, I would like to just quickly say off the bat because I do believe people would like to know. Your lovely daughter made her first appearance on a podcast anywhere at the ripe old age of like, I don't know, 3 weeks old. So she's born to be a superstar. I think
Yeah, and
we
I'm trying to think when it was. I think it might have been a few days, a week, first week. I can't remember. Might have been the first week. Yeah, I can't remember now, but yeah.
she may have been a few days old and she was already on the podcast. I think people would like to know is how are you and your family and how is she and how's everyone going there?
Yeah, like touch wood. Like I feel like so far, it's been good. Like as in, it's obviously like comes with its challenges. Like obviously less like all the standard things that you would expect, like less sleep than usual, and all the other things that come with having to look after someone that can't look after themselves. I think just like I guess some random bits of I guess being a bit older, like I've been able to soak in a bit of advice from various people, and there's a few things that stuck with me. And I think and it sounds like very basic advice, but like one of the things is like just divide and conquer. Like sometimes both parents would like stay awake and then get up together and do it, and then you're both tired and you're both ruined and whatever. So, for example, I go to bed earlier, so I'll try and sleep around 8 or whatnot, so 8:30, and then do what I got to do, and then I'll get up. So anything if she wakes up from like 3:30, 4 o'clock onwards, then it's like my responsibility. So I'll get up, do what I got to do with her and whatnot, and then yeah, sometimes she goes back to bed. I'll do some other things, but then I'll look after her from like whatever 3:30 to 8 o'clock ish. Then Gaia would do like the later feed, go to bed around 11 o'clock or so. And then typically she would, yeah. So, and then, yeah, so if she wakes up before that, Gaia will get up and do what she needs to do. And then if she's after that, then I kind of take, as an example, like it sounds pretty basic, but a lot of people do make that mistake of trying to do everything together. And then they'll just stay up together and baby's awake and then they're both tired and it's just a bit messy. Um, Other bit of advice, and it sounds a bit selfish, but it's actually not, is like the baby's coming into your world, you're not going into theirs, is a really good bit of advice I got from a friend. And it's just like you almost try and get their sleep routines and their behaviors adapted to yours, as opposed to like reacting to every small thing. And it's not obviously not as easy as this, and I don't want to make I know it's hard out there, so but it's just like consciously just trying to do that. And I think slowly they get adapted to your rhythm and then they kind of fit into your life. So it's a bit more thing. And I think, yeah, it just sounds like we say to some people feel like, oh, that's a bit selfish and things like that and things. But it's just like, yeah, I think everyone's happy. Everyone's, yeah, I don't know. Just it just works around. And the baby's happy, everyone's happy. Just kind of do that. So I think those two bits definitely stuck with me. Um, yeah, that's yeah. But overall, like honestly, but at times, yeah, blessing, like it's so hard to explain because everything I say is probably anyone that doesn't have a kid, right? When you say it, you probably hear the same thing and you're like, oh yeah, everyone says it's challenging, it's thing, but it's the best thing ever. And everyone, and I heard that as well. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But
Yeah.
it's such a felt experience. And like, even right now, if someone else looked at my baby, they would probably just be like a little blob, just hanging there, just like what everyone would be like, oh, she's cute, but affected. But for us, like each day on each week, like there's tiny, tiny personality changes and observations and things that you notice, and it's so cool. And actually just came to me. Funnily enough, yesterday as I'm just going on a rant here, but
It's nice.
yesterday Gaia was just sitting in like she's got like a chair that she feeds her in, and just
Mm.
sitting there, and she's just like, just like I feel like this is my like favorite time with it, and I don't think it's going to get better. Like and it's in a unique way because at the moment she can't communicate, and it's like she's like communicating through her eyes, tiny cues that obviously no one else would know, but we've picked up on some small things, and you're communicating through intuition and subtleties and things like that, and you're very present to kind of figure that out. And there's like this love without words, and yeah, it's just that's interesting. It's like it's a very interesting experience. And yeah, naturally, as they get older and can talk, it's going to be different. Are we still going to pay attention to those cues when words start being used, you know? And even though those cues will probably still exist. And we're just having that chat last night, which I thought was very interesting.
That's so special, man. Sincerely, that's very
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
And thank God, it clearly sounds like her health is good and she's good.
Yeah. Like touch wood, like yeah, all like as smooth and yeah, going as smooth and as good as it can. Yeah.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. And I think
Well,
just yeah, once again, just like going in, just like not naive to how hard, just a lot of these conversations like we had in advance before having the baby. I think once again, probably just doesn't apply to having a baby. Like I guess anything in life, most people I find will just stumble into whatever it is. But there was a lot of things we consciously spoke about prior to like even things like dynamics with in-laws, like what we're gonna do, like expectation, like all those things. So then when we're going into it, we know what we're likely to face, and we've already discussed as a couple like how we're gonna handle these things. Of course, other things are gonna come up along the way, but our values and principles and stuff are aligned, and it'll get tested at times. But yeah, just I guess done in that kind of way. So
I'm really happy for you, man. I'm really happy to hear. And like I thought it would be nice to bring it up because people would have heard, obviously saw her on camera like a few episodes ago, and it's good to hear how she is, and that's a
yeah.
blessing, man. One little quote, just real quick, like one really nice little quote that I once heard was it it's two parts. It's like, a lot of people say it's important to be grateful for the little things in life, and it's true. But it's also, it's important to be grateful for the little things that have happened. But sometimes it's also important to be grateful for the big things that didn't happen, you know? And it's like, she's doing well. She's healthy.
Mm,
Gaia's doing well, relationships going well. There's a lot of big things that could have happened and didn't, and that's important to be grateful for also, So
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, man, that's not correct. Correct. Definitely easy to take for granted, for sure. And yeah, man, as you're saying that, just like, yeah, I think that, and was, I guess, not even fully related to what you're saying, but like,
Mm,
sorry, just
mm,
a third piece of, I don't want to call it advice, but just like what relationship going well. And I think one of the biggest things, and I'd be keen to hear your thoughts, and I guess you talk to a lot of people and you do a lot of relationship stuff with people.
mm.
We're just not, as in it sounds silly, but we're just not in competition and we're not in pointing fingers. Like as in we don't even count who's changed more nappies, who's done more of this. We just know that both of us we're doing the best that we can. We're doing it. You know what I mean? It's not, and it's just like, and we operate from that place.
Yes.
And I think I just see it, and obviously we might slip into it, and but I just see it a lot where people are like, "Oh, but I did the last one. You need to do this one, and this is this," and it's like it's not like nappy for nappy. There's so many different things in a relationship that cause balance, as we kind of talk about, and I think we know and appreciate what we offer to each other, and there's genuinely none of that, and I think all of those things yeah, is why things are good. And we'll be tested. I know, I'm sure we will in times. But we just, I guess, come back to base and remind us of these kinds of things.
Can I say like a little note on that? Because I think people can really benefit from hearing your perspective on this, Kedge. Uh, for me, the key phrase that you said there was, and appreciate what each other offered to each other.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion, this is my little theory. I think I think a lot of people don't fully appreciate what the other partner brings to the table. And that's what leads to the tit for tat or the counting nappies or the uh like
Yeah.
the in competition measuring
Mm.
thing. Well, what
Mm.
do you think of that? Because sincerely, I feel like you would have a lot of really good wisdom that people would scarcely hear otherwise on this topic.
I don't look. I'm going to lean on you. I think to articulate. 'Cause I think this is the part that you do best. Because I think sometimes I feel like I've embodied some of this wisdom. I like to call it, and
Mm,
it's kind of I think with all aspects of life, it's not even in that relationship, whether it's in a friendship, and it's how like oh like I did this for you, or I just that way of thinking is just not in my existence, right? You kind of just know that, as a friend, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for you. Like you do this, like it's like, oh, if I pay this bill there, it's like I need to pay the next one. I don't even think like that, because I just there's so many other aspects that there's a blessing from that friendship in so many different ways, and in so many different ways we help each other out, and same in a relationship, and it's just not 1 + 1 = 2. And I've come to understand that about the universe in general and relationships with anyone in general. And I know it's probably not the
I
answer you
think
were.
I think that's more rare than you giving yourself credit for, Kedge. I'm of the opinion.
No, no, I'm
You
sure.
know?
No, no, I'm sure it is. Like, I'm sure it is. But it's just like I find that I've just found it to be true, over time.
Mm.
And yeah, but yeah, please, like, I think when it comes, I think you were expecting a different kind of response from me.
No,
But
well,
yeah, but yeah.
I think here's my theory then on that. My
Mm,
theory is that you have cultivated relationships with other givers because you are a big giver to me. I think anyone who knows you, anyone who watches this podcast will know that you're a big giver. Like you're just you trust that hey, it's going to come back around. Let's just it's a abundance mindset. It's giving, it's knowing there's going to be enough, and you're somehow very good at covering your bases and receiving what you need to, which I
mm,
don't fully understand how you do that so well. But somehow you're really good at feeling like you've received enough that you have the abundance to give and be a
mm,
giver. And I definitely know that there are people out there who are good people, but they feel like they do struggle with that scarcity mindset and they don't really know tactically how to make that bridge.
mm,
I'm actually been super real, man, because
mm,
you heard from when before we started the podcast, I wanted to talk about something else, but genuinely, man, like um I would love because in my own little mind, I'm like, okay, Kedge can do that because he's around other very considerate givers. So, for example, I can do that with you. The way that you're describing, I do that with you
yeah,
all the time
sure.
because I'm like, whatever,
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. It's going to come
yeah.
back around. It's completely fine. So I'd love to hear your narration on that.
Yeah, I just think it's also like yeah, and definitely haven't got it right all the time with every single person. But at the same time, I think the net position is positive, right? And as time has gone on, you kind of know the people that deserve it more, and you know the boundaries that you have to draw. But I think as a default state, even like as in it'll be hard, even in our business, like with our clients, like man, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions, like just providing value, like before we even ask for money or even talk about money and things like that. And look, majority of people end up working with us anyway. But if we don't, like, man, I've done a great thing for this person. They'll walk away and they'll spread the word in a different way because for whatever reason it wasn't right for them. But I think that I don't know. I feel like that's a bit lost in the world, that way of thinking, because I think it's a more patient game. It's a more patient game because you do that, and not just with work or whatever, even with friendships and I guess subconsciously, you're probably everyone's expecting something back. Like when you're doing that, even if you're not consciously like I'm doing this because I'm expecting something back, but deep down, you're probably like, why isn't the world rewarding me for being a good guy, right? And I think I've definitely felt like that in the past, but in the scheme of things, I'm 34, 35 this year, you know, relatively young. And I think having that as my North Star for the majority of the time, as much as it feels like it's only really now in the last few years I'm feeling the true payout from all of that. Even though it feels like somewhat long, it's not, in the scheme of things. And I think that 1%, 2% deviation away from that people have, before you know it, in 5 years' time, you're way, and then you're like, oh, why things for different reasons don't work for you? So for me, yeah, just I think it's just this is who I am. This is what I want to believe the world is like, or believe the people in my circle are like, and slowly cultivating a group and just I don't know, just sticking with that and a bit of faith and I don't know. I'm getting lost for words.
I
Yeah.
think there's incredible wisdom in what you've said, and I would like to unpack that for people
Yeah.
listening if they're struggling. But before we go there, if that's okay, I would love to ask you, Kedge, what would you say to someone who feels like they've been a really good guy and done a lot
Yeah.
of giving, and people have fucked them over, and they feel bitter at the world as a result?
Yeah, look. it's hard, right? As in, it is hard, and it's happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened. Yeah, like you said, it's happened. I had a really good conversation with a friend earlier in the week. Someone he borrowed let someone who he really trusted start a business, borrowed over 100K, and then just like refusing to pay him back. So that shit. And this is someone who really like sense checked the person, someone who I'd put in a very similar category to me. And you don't always get it right. You know, so it's hard because like that. For me, you've just got to believe that there is enough good out there, and slowly in time, even internally, we'll slowly get it right as well. Because we'll get it wrong sometimes too. But it's almost like backing yourself that the more you do it, the more you keep learning with these lessons, the more in tune you'll get with who is right, what is right. And yeah, as the years go on, like you'll make less and less of those. At the start of the journey, you might be getting it wrong half the time, then it might be 30% of the time, then it might be 20% of the time, and then 10% of the time. So over time, you're living in alignment, and the down, and you might even notice the downs more than the ups. It might only be happening 20% of the time, and 80% of the time the way you are is perfect. But that 20% is like now skewing the way you're thinking about the 80% of the time it's working. So, and I feel like the more you do it, that 20% will get less and less because you'll be more in tune with when it's not right. So that's man,
Man,
I'm just saying this on the fly. Like I haven't thought about this
I
very
know, but
deeply. So
yeah, but I actually feel like this is one of those actual, real, incredibly rare moments of like it's very scarcely shared knowledge what you're
yeah,
saying here, because a lot of
yeah.
people don't know that answer. Bro, I if I was to add something here that I think people can benefit from if they're getting value from this discussion, I would say that what underpins everything that you shared there is something you alluded to, which is it's who you're choosing to be.
Yeah,
It's there's a decision to me that you're choosing to believe in the good. I think is like you said a sentence like that. It's
yeah,
like you're choosing to believe that there's enough good out there that this positive strategy of believing in abundance will work. And as a result of at that foundational layer, you're choosing to believe that there's enough good out there that you can be a good guy, that you can still give with abundance and you still take the learnings. You still, as you go through the world, you kind of realize, cool, this person's a bit more of a taker. So I kind of, uh, I'm not going to waste too much time being salty about that. I just know now, cool, no
mm,
problem. Let me just use that to refine my approach a bit. Furthermore, I think what you said is that, all of our brains have a negative bias. And
mm,
if you don't know how to be grateful, and kind of correct yourself, you can end up over catastrophizing or over painting the bad and under appreciating all the good people,
mm,
and it seems to me like you've had the underpinning belief of, man, there's enough good people out there. It's still worth being this way. It's how I want to be. It's how I want to live my life. If I come across people who are takers, then fine. Like lesson learned.
mm,
Let me skew this way, but also let me not over catastrophize or over skew my mind
mm,
to painting this negative picture. Let me still bias towards believing in the good. And then as a result of you doing that and you've kept on walking that path, as you said about the 1 to 2 degree shifts, that's actually brought you to this place
mm.
where you've kind of got like a pretty abundant level of friends who are of that good caliber. And so it kind of seems to work very well. And I think a lot of you, even your business opportunities have, I think, mentioned come from referrals from people in the past.
Yeah,
So that's my projection of what you just shared there, man.
yeah, no, yeah, man. And I think, yeah, and man, I think once again you're really good at articulating, what I'm trying to say, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. And I think that one thing is the biggest one is people probably like catastrophize the downside way more than it is, and I've done that in the past as well. Like I'm like, oh, like I do so much, I do this thing, and why am I like, and you get caught in that, you know what I mean? But when if you were to sit down and write it all out, I'm sure like, and I think yeah, and I think people then based on the negative, like as I said, they'll start making those 1 to 2 degree shifts and start adjusting behaviors, but it's just like you know, you're not realizing that you probably should be if anything, adjusting this way because this is actually working. You're adjusting because of the negative.
Mm,
So as per what you're saying. So
wow.
yeah, but Yeah, man, I don't know, like as in it's just yeah, it's just what's your thought? What's your tell me about your like in how in your life, what's the story there? Like how do you where do you feel like you kind of sit on that spectrum or have sat or now that you're
I
thinking
think
about it?
I think for sure I think for sure I kind of had a uh very naive outlook on the world in the beginning. And I
Mm,
think that I really did try to just like number one, I believe that everyone was honest. And I
mm,
think a lot of people think they're honest. They don't even realize how much they're lying to their own self.
mm,
So consciously they think they're honest, but bro, so what I mean by that is, for example, when in my early business journey, I came across those courses that say, "Hey, listen, look at all our testimonials. Everyone's making $1 million in 7 days. Like, this is, it's all." I think I just believed people, especially when I come from like I went to a good school and a good uni and had good jobs. So I think I've overall been around just good stock of people like and as a result you don't realize out there in the wild west type of thing there's a lot of sharks and very disillusioned people or
mm,
delusional people I should say.
mm,
So I think a big thing for me, man, was it wasn't so like I have felt the bitterness of giving to people who were just fucking complete little fucking idiots, like
mm,
who didn't deserve it. Like, and I remember, ironically, this story comes to my head. I haven't thought of it in a very long time. I remember, man, like, I believe I was in uni, like second year or something like that. Some like maybe like 18, 19, 20 years old. And this dude invited me to his birthday party. And for me, this is at a time when I took people inviting me to their parties seriously. Like I thought it meant something to them if they invited me. But and I don't think I realized that there are people out there in the world who would just invite everyone or who just invite you or they think it's important to them, but but not actually practically or whatever. And so this guy's birthday party was, I remember it was quite a drive away. It was fucking pouring rain, blah, 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 blah. And I went, right? And ironically, I remember going there and basically I just kind of got sat in the back corner somewhere. And a lot of the people from uni were not even there. And that guy didn't really make much effort either, you
mm.
know? And I remember just thinking, I remember just feeling like I had this positive smile on my face and the love that I was trying to give. But I was like, I remember just thinking, oh, okay, he must be busy. Oh, he doesn't, it's okay. It's not that he doesn't care or it's not that he's a fucking idiot. It's that it's just busy. You kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then I had bought him. I really took the effort to like go and buy him a nice birthday present. I bought him a nice tie and stuff like that from Maya, but I had forgotten to bring it. So I was like, man, I actually did buy you a birthday present. Bro, I yeah, like I forgot to bring it, man, but I'll get it to you, next time we meet. And he's like, yeah, yeah, no problem. And then I remember like uh getting in contact with him to say, bro, I want to get you your birthday present. And then he was like, I think it was words to the effect of like, oh man, here's my address. Like I live here in Penrith. You can drop it off there. And so I fucking drove all the way to Penrith, which for people who don't know, it's a long way from where most people live in general. It's a far place. And I was messaging saying, "Hey, cool man, are you cool if I come on Sunday in the evening?" And I think he was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's great." But then I remember on the day of, like, I was messaging him because I was thinking I was coming from a world where I thought people knew how to be in communication. Like, like for me, these are real basic standards, like just being in communication, being considerate about other people, knowing that the world doesn't revolve around you. Like, but man, like there's an insane amount of just low consciousness out there that especially when you are in low consciousness, you think that you don't know that there's another type of world out there, I guess. So
Mm.
you don't realize how shitty of a person or how low standards you have. And so I remember like driving to this 1 hour to go to this person's house. But then, that whole time they were not like that whole day they didn't get back to any of my messages and stuff. Like when I was confirming, hey man, you're still okay? I'll come on Sunday. I'll come at this time. And remember like being at his door with his tie, just knocking at the door
Mm.
to give this person his birthday gift, and yeah, no one answered. And then like I just ended up leaving it like on the doorstep, and then I drove home. And I just remember thinking, like, even then, man, I was so naive that, like, I didn't know that I'm not the same person anymore, you know? Like, I would have, yeah, I would be incredibly different on how I deal with that situation now. But, like, I didn't even know who I was dealing with in terms of how clueless, I guess you could say, this person was. And I remember, like, trying to contact him saying, and I never heard back from him. And then one day, I think I bumped into him again in uni or somewhere, maybe 6 months later. And it was like, hey, man, yeah, how are you? Is everything okay? Blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, and then he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, by the way, thanks for the tie. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, cool. And I didn't even know at that time. I don't think my brain could compute that there are people in the world who just, it's
Mm.
just different levels of consciousness.
Mm.
And now I see, and I think I had to go through so many,
Mm.
insanely many, because the thing is, I think I took what he said, that he had the consciousness to go, hey, if I'm asking this person to come to my party, I'm asking them to take a lot of effort on an evening
Mm.
to,
Mm.
yeah, I think I think I came to realize that not everyone has that level of consciousness to think of you. And so I think, my bro, I'll end this. I know this is a very long story, but I'll end this by saying I think it took me insane levels of bad experiences and pain for me to realize. And so my learning curve was a lot longer than yours was, I think, Kedge. So as a result, the pain associated in my case was a lot deeper. So
Mm.
with me now, I think I'm if anything a little bit over. I'm an incredible giver. I know that
Mm.
for sure,
Mm.
but
Mm.
but I think I'm incredibly precise on who gets through the gates.
Mm.
So like you got through the gate, so you get the real me, you know,
Mm.
and so you know who the real me is. But I've had to like, yeah, that's sorry, that was a way too long.
That's it's good, and I think when I say that, I would love to move on to another topic, but I think it's good. I think for me, it's like even though that happened, it's like what I would urge people out there is not to get hardened by those. So I would say like for that one friend that did that, how many other parties did you go to where they loved having you there? You did the same amount of effort and they didn't. I don't know. I'm sure there was like you know what I mean. And it's like and over time in life, slowly those kinds of people will stop existing in your world, and more people that did enjoy having you there and stuff would be more and more. So it's just I think my thing people out there is just don't get hardened by that and become all bitter about the world that oh everyone sucks and blah 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 because I'm sure there was and for some people it might be less but it's okay like maybe you're starting from a different place but that's okay there's still even if it's a handful that handful come bigger and then the rest of it you slowly and you slowly cultivate more of this world so I think that's just like in a simple sense like how I would
Absolutely. And to that point, where focus goes, energy flows.
yeah
What we're going to put energy into is what's going to grow.
Mm.
So even when Ked said that story, like actually, like what Ked said that piece just then, my first thought actually was, um, wow, like I thought about all these uni parties and I had basically the same experience. And even then, if
yeah
I really had such a skewed sample of idiots, it it's still what you're saying is still correct. It's
yeah
just like well, why don't you just still focus on the one positive one instead of forgetting about that? And because the thing is, the more you focus on that, the more you appreciate that, that is what you're going to grow. And that's exactly what in fact happened in my life.
Yeah,
So,
100%. Yeah, 100%. And I know it has. So, yeah,
mm,
man. Nah, it's I think it's yeah. I think that's it. And you're right. And I don't want to make just to round this one off, but I think yeah, I don't want to I think probably out there in the world there I don't know exactly, but there probably is probably more low conscious people than there is people that are this. But once again, like you can choose which part of that world you want to kind of be in. because same thing, even in industry, like even the industry that I'm in, it's like, oh, every buyer's agent, every real estate, they're all shit, they're all sharks, they're all whatever. And I also had that view, but slowly over time, I've started to build relationships with good people in that industry, and I've got enough of them that I connect with, and I'm happy with. I'm sure same in your space. Like there's probably a lot of whatever they want to label themselves as life coaches, personal development work, whatever. And there's a lot of people out there that are just doing fucking, quote unquote scammy work and whatever. And then but there's enough. I'm sure you've found the right ones, and you've got a little circle that you trust and that you work with, and that's your network.
Beautifully said, man. Yeah, because as soon as you said that, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, I went back to that focus principle. It's just like, well, it's true. It is out there. It is true.
Yeah.
The scams are out there, but but it's about where do you want to put your attention and your energy? Are you gonna, Stephen Covey says, you either put your energy in your circle of concern, or you put your energy in your circle your circle of concern, or you put it in your circle of influence. Whatever you put your energy into is what's going to grow. So, like just focus on what you can actually influence, not all the other scams out there, but on the good things, because that's what's going to grow then. So can I ask you, man, because I feel like I kind of overrode the last 10 minutes there. Is there anything that you feel compelled to talk about or wanted to share on our today's episode?
No, man, I think that was good because I think, as in, yeah, I think unless there's anything more to expand on it, but I think that what we spoke about was great in the sense of that. So I do know that a lot of people get bitter and stuff about things that have happened, and I think what we spoke about hopefully it lands in a certain way that they can, at least start the journey of looking at it a little bit differently.
Mm.
I know you had something that you wanted to, I know you sent me some screenshots throughout the week. And so, and honestly, I can be honest, I didn't spend too much time looking at it, right? So I just think, but I got the gist of what was going on. Do you want to share about that? And I'm happy to ask some
Yeah,
questions.
and maybe even just share your perspective on it. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so because I had for everyone listening, I had a series of really kind of wonderful things that kind of happened actually, and insights, and that really helped me. I think almost start like a kind of new way of being in an almost new chapter in a really, really wholesome, happy way. So for context for people, I noticed this year, almost every second week, I was getting sick. That's number one. Number two, I found myself just being really, really, really tired. And I was like, man, why am I like so tired all the time? Because it's hard for me to work and do anything good if I'm exhausted all the time. And so I really did a lot in terms of trying to figure out what was going on. And there was three kind of core lessons that were learned. And Ked, you just jump in at any time, my bro. But the first one that I came to realize was, okay, my sleep is good, my nutrition is good, my water intake, exercise is good. Like I got an aura ring tracking everything. I'm tracking my energy expenditure every day. I'm tracking everything. What's wrong? I came to realize, man, the first one was I was not letting my brain rest. My brain was always on. And it was like I used to switch off at like 7 p.m. or something every day and actually just go and be happy. I used to do that, like just let go of work and go and be happy. And what I came to realize was me going and being happy or going to a different environment, driving somewhere or going to a cafe or something, it made me laugh and it was joyful and it took my mind off everything, stopped me being serious. Bro, that gave me energy. It was refreshing.
Mm.
And I think because of somewhere in this pursuit of trying to optimize everything and do well, I'm like, oh, I don't have time to do that. Let me just go to sleep instead. Let me just like basically, I was trying to over optimize everything. But in doing that, I cut out the things that were actually allowing my brain to rest. Because I realized that rest is not the same as restoration. Like a rejuvenative activity, sometimes you will actually feel more energy if you go for a run than if you just lie in bed for 20 minutes. Going for a run can actually rejuvenate you more. So that was the first piece that I realized. I was not allowing my brain to rest. And there was a really lovely book that I've been reading called The Courage to Be Disliked. I never read it before because I'm like, oh, I don't need that courage. I don't have a problem with that, you know? But actually, so much of that book is about something called secondary gain. Secondary gain means like when you're doing something that's not serving you or like a negative, a bad habit, or it's like, so let's say it's smoking or drugs or gambling or something like that, a bad habit. Secondary gain means, well, we're always doing something because at some subconscious level, we believe we're getting some kind of benefit from doing that. So, for example, if we're in a toxic relationship, it's just like we're only really allowing that toxic relationship to continue because at a subconscious level, we believe we're getting something out of it, and sometimes we can see it like a caricature with some people, like they stay in this shitty situation, but we all know it's because they're getting something out of staying. Sometimes, the way Tony Robbins breaks it down is there's love and connection, there's a sense of significance, there's certainty, the golden handcuffs is certainty, maybe there's variety, maybe, or the spiritual ones are growth and contribution. But at some level, out of those six human needs, certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, contribution, at a subconscious level, we perceive we're getting something out of this thing that we think is negative, and that's what's actually keeping us stuck there.
Mm.
And it's about understanding, okay, what is the subconscious benefit that you're getting out of it? So I
Mm.
asked myself, Kez, did you want to say something, by
No,
the
no,
way?
I'm listening. I'm trying to apply it to something for myself. So,
No.
but yeah, keep, yeah,
No.
yeah.
So I asked myself, okay, what's the subconscious benefit I'm getting about never switching off? And it's like, oh, okay, subconsciously, I thought that if I don't switch off and I keep thinking about work or whatever, like then I'm going to come up with better ideas or whatever. And so and really what this is for everyone listening at home, it's like there's the vehicle and the destination, right? And the destination in this case is, oh, I'm not switching off from work so I can keep coming up with good creative ideas. So the destination is coming up with good creative ideas because I'm spending more time thinking about work. So the vehicle or the mechanism is spending more time thinking about work. But the issue with that mechanism was that it was fucking making me tired and making me sick because I was never resting. And so what you want to do is there's nothing wrong with the outcome that you're trying, the destination. The destination being, hey, Dim wants to just have more creative ideas at work. So it's just about replacing the vehicle. And so for me, it's like, okay, what's another vehicle I could use that doesn't burn me out, that doesn't make me sick, that can help me have creative ideas. And ironically, it was spending the extra 10 minutes going to the cafe with my friends, having a laugh, taking my mind off things. That gave me the energy, gave me the creativity, gave me everything,
Mm.
And it was just changing the vehicle, same outcome. Kej, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, it's just like it's always a good reminder, this kind of stuff. It's hard because like so I remember like going on a holiday at the start of the year to New Zealand for a week and right, and you fully switch off and you talk about the destination is more creative ideas or whatever, but you switch off and there's like the creative ideas come out. You know what I mean? And it's like when you think when you're on, like if you switch off, you're gonna block it in some way, But and it's not even that. Sometimes you're just busy. Sometimes you're just doing it. Whatever. But sometimes you take those 3 or 4 days off, or you do something, and you actually come back with newfound focus or newfound realization. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, just but it's so tricky to execute because even for me, like yeah, like even the thing that you told me last week about downloading your thoughts or debriefing at the end of the day into the AI tool, I genuinely know how much of a good idea it was, and I was like, I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to do it, and yeah, and I told my business partner Manny about it, and he's like, it's such a great idea, and I didn't do it by the way this week is is the end of the story, and he put it in his calendar to do it as well, and was like, I'm going to do it, and both of us are similar, like as in yeah, I'm definitely for me more a morning person, and by the nighttime I become just a bit of a mush. So then it's there to do it. I'm just like I'm just so tired. Like I just can't and then whatever. And then same for Manny. He's just like saw it in his calendar and just didn't do it. But I know it's just one of those things like just if you did do it, get all those thoughts out of our heads, that all the crazy shit that's going on, we'll probably sleep better, probably rest better because I know that in the nighttime these things are going through my head and all the tasks that need to be done. But when you actually write it down, it's actually not too much. It's just because it's there. So once again, my commitment, I'm going to try and do it this week and come back and think. I know I said it last week, but yeah, all these things like yeah, that's as you're saying that, that's what I was reflecting on. And even though it's hard, because even though you know it's true, even though you know if you go take that holiday or take that 1 week off, the world's not going to fall down. You probably will make more money at the end of the year by doing that. But it feels like if I don't, I'm going to make less money. Just
Crazy.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, so yeah, like I don't know. What's your thoughts? How does someone, how do you tell, how do you, yeah, what would you say? How do you embody that to be truth? Because it's almost like if I take the week, even for us, if we take a week off, it's like, oh, like, is the business like, it's going to keep going, obviously, but things going to slow down or whatever. And it's just like, but it's not, and it's like net results probably going to be better, but it's just, yeah, in that moment, it doesn't feel like it.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Number one is if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, this is actually a pretty good idea. It would be pretty good for me to switch off, but I'm afraid to take 7 days off. I would just say you don't have to go to from 0 to 100 straight away. Why not sample this idea by just on a Thursday night, go to a comedy club and have a laugh. And
Mm.
just leave at a sensible time. That's all. Just leave at a sensible time. Leave at 9 p.m. or whatever. So you can still kind of go to bed around the same time. Just try that and see how you feel the next day. Why
Mm.
not just give it a little try? That's what I would say there. What do you think about that,
Yeah,
Kev?
can I ask a question on that? Because
Oh,
funny,
please,
and
here we
Manny,
go.
Manny
Here
won't
we
mind me. Yeah, he
here
won't
we
mind me saying this. He actually goes and reads the transcript of every episode. And he's been mentioned a few times, and he gets so excited.
That's
But he asks me, he's like, and he's definitely changed. Like I was on this journey too. He doesn't find joy in those things. He just finds joy in working. He
that's
just
cute.
wants to do the thing. It's like that's where satisfaction comes from. It's like, yeah, go to a comedy club and you're just there and just yeah, you're meant to enjoy it, or you're meant to go to the beach and go for a walk and you're meant to enjoy it,
Yeah,
and you're meant to go hang out with, and it's like or whatever. And he's just like, or you're meant to go check out the Buddhist temple down the road, and he's like, I went and checked it, whatever, right? All these things, and he's gone and done all these things, right? But he's like, honestly, like, I don't get the enjoyment. I don't get it. Like, I just want to, I'll rather just work. But you know, uh, but there's a different element there. But I think I know what you're gonna say. But like, yeah, you talk us there because I went on the journey, so I think I kind of get it. But I'm kind of keen to hear yeah,
man, you know what it is? There's no science to fulfillment, it's a art. It's
yeah,
a art. There's a science to achievement. There's an art to fulfillment. Fulfillment is supposed to be joyful. It's not supposed to be serious and masculine. It's very feminine if you think about it. So man, I would just say go to where the joy is. And what I would say to to Manny is other than work, because work is dope. Work is dope, man. We're technically kind of working right now. We're all laughing and stuff, right? Bro, other than work, there's gonna be other things that we all enjoy.
yeah,
Like I think Manny likes cigars, like I do, right? I think he likes motorbikes, like I do. Like there's other things which may not be traditional. It might not be going to a Buddhist temple, but it doesn't need to be, man. Man, it's all spiritual. It's all spiritual, man. Riding on a motorbike and being in the present moment, listening to Taylor Swift. I'm not saying Manny does that. I don't know. I don't know who does. I don't know where I got that idea. But doing that, if you're in the present moment and you're laughing, that is spiritual, man. You know. So I would just say, like,
How
what
would
is?
you, sorry, how would you say you find this? If you're not sure, and say even those things, and I'm not saying this is true for him, but maybe that's just like he's trying to figure out what he enjoys. So maybe this, yeah, this whatever, all those things, cigars, the cars, whatever. Does he really enjoy it, or like or is he just experimenting to figure out what it is that
Yeah.
you enjoy? How do you like? It's an art, so it probably is, yeah, experimenting, experiencing, figuring out. Or is it just a lack of stepping into the feminine and letting yourself feel it, or combination of both?
No, no, no. I would say, so you're well aware of the values process that
Yeah,
we do, right?
yeah,
So for everyone listening at home, I might even just put a free link to the values process because we do have a process to help people learn this stuff, right? Which asks you a whole set of different questions about time, space, gravity, energy, like what takes your interest, and it helps you distill the themes that help you find what you really love. So if someone was seriously struggling with it, I would say that that really helps. But a nice way for many to think about it, or for someone who's struggling to think about it, is like when you're on holiday, if you could, what would you do? If when
mm,
you're on holiday, what would you do? Right? And it's like sometimes you know the answer. Like when you go on holiday, oh fuck, you know what I actually really like to do on holiday? I like to take a motorbike and smoke a cigar just by myself. That's what I like to do. But the nice question to ask is, at the thought of what do you get a sense of energy? At the
Mm,
thought of what do you get a sense of energy? And write a whole list down. And it should, and these are like my favorite activities because they're fun. They're not about any serious thing or some outcome. It's really just what's the things that make you happy and lose space, lose track of time and make you joyful.
mm,
And everyone's got their own, as unique as their thumbprint, answer
mm,
to that
mm,
which is what's the best thing about it,
mm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's your thoughts on this one? Because I'm sure you've loosely followed it. I think you would have like a few months back, you would have watched the Tony Robbins and
Yeah.
Hormozi
Yes.
like podcast. So when I look at that Hormozi character, like I get that same kind of sense that he gets enjoyed from the way he positions himself.
Correct.
But I also genuinely figured out, just genuinely figure it's true to him. It's not an act. It's like his enjoyment is purely from work or whatever. He struggles I think he opened up on that podcast with him as well. He doesn't really get enjoyment, from these other things as well. And it's funny though, because obviously Tony Robbins said have a kid, and they're now having a kid. So I wonder if that's why he decided to do it.
Cute.
But yeah, like what? Yeah, what is similar? Is it the same situation? Like, would you say the same kind of thing, or is that different?
Can I use that to build on, how I said I had another thing to share today?
I fully apologize because I fully
No, not
forgot.
at all. Not at
Yeah,
all. Because
yeah,
I actually this completely is part of that story, ironically.
perfect,
Alex Hormozy.
perfect, perfect.
So I do want to share this one because I believe it can really help a lot of people. Um, okay, so as I said, I found myself really struggling with energy. So actually, I kind of solved the health issue. Okay, the health, like my health got better. Like I literally started to rest and blah 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 blah. Like, and I stopped and basically, and I also just cleaned the air conditioner filter, started taking mushrooms again, not psychedelic mushrooms, other mushrooms, and took more breaks. And I actually genuinely stopped getting sick. And I was like, okay, that's amazing. That's a huge breakthrough for me because anyone knows, especially trying to have a business, if you're getting sick every 2 weeks, that's not great. You know, that was the first thing. But then the second thing was I started to still really struggle with my energy levels. Like my energy was so tired. And I really what I was doing was every morning and evening I do like a visualization manifestation meditation. And sometimes when you're doing this stuff for a long time, you're borderline on autopilot, like the novelty is gone, right? But somehow, Kedge, uh I found myself like listening to the words that they're trying to say in the meditation. And one of them is you're not just visualizing it, you're feeling it. You're feeling, okay, let's say you want to make $500,000 this year. It's like you want to step into the version of you who is looking at his tax return or the bank statement or whatever. He's looking at that moment of proof at the end of the year or whatever that time is, where he's like, wow, I did it. I made the 500 grand this year, blah blah blah. And then, in the meditation they're saying, and how did you feel? Like how are you feeling? You want to live that moment right now. You don't want to wait. You want to live and you want to be that vibration of you right now, the vibration of you that is making 500,000 or 1 million or whatever a year. And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm really struggling to feel it, to feel that feeling of being this version of me. And I stepped into it. I stepped into this version of me that's making this money a year, blah blah blah, my goal money a year. And I asked myself the honest question, would I feel any different to what I'm feeling now? And then I was like, oh man, I can't believe I'm making this mistake, but I would not be feeling different because the minute I hit that number, let's say it's 500,000 a year, the minute I do, I already know that I would still do this whole dissatisfied, bitter, tired frame because man, I need to be doing 1 million a year now. And then I already know when I get to 1 million a year, I'm going to be like, oh, but my boy did this guy, he's doing 12 million a year, you know? And then I was like, I thought about something that I know, Kedge, you know, like the back of your hand, like you're probably screaming, thinking, like, Dim, I can't believe you don't know this. Like, I mean, you didn't think of this, but the truth is, it's never enough, is it? Because when you get to 12 million a year, you're comparing yourself to the guys who are doing 70 million a year, right? And this freaking chase never ends.
mm,
And that's not to say that you still shouldn't keep trying to
mm,
improve,
mm,
but I came to realize, like, okay, so speaking to secondary gain again, so where did I learn this strategy of like bitterly pushing all the time, like Alex Hormozi, by the way, who I think really espouses this whole uh
mm,
just fucking burnt out, tired thing
mm,
of just work, work, work. I was like, where did I not so much where did I learn it, because I'm pretty sure I did learn it from the Alex Hormozis of the world, but I'm like, why did I adopt this strategy? And I came to realize that I adopted this strategy because I thought this was how you have to be. You have to be fucking tired
mm,
and burnt out and pushed all the time,
mm,
in order to make it through. And then also because of the challenges that I went through in my like recent past, I guess you could say, I kind of almost did have to be that way just to get through such a challenging time. But somewhere in there, it's like I lost touch with that divine spark that I had when I started this business journey. And I was looking at some of the boys in my coaching program who I coach, who are in their first year, who are doing like so well, bro. Like
mm,
guys like already banked like $50,000 in their first couple of months of starting their business, you know? And I was like, fuck. And I was watching the way that they were, and I was like, wow, they're a lot like what I was like when
mm,
I first started. It was like, you know,
mm,
there's that positive expectancy, the enthusiasm, this great energy. And I'm like, man, how did I lose this? And I can see how I lost it because of all the challenges. I can see where I adopted this new way of being in listening to Moses. But then finally, I was like, but this thing is the reason I don't fucking have energy. Because
mm,
I'm just like, you know, you're supposed to visualize and like visualize the future you're kind of trying to create and be that version of you. And I was like, man, I'm actually creating this result myself because
mm,
I'm being this tired, burnt out version of me. And
mm,
now that's exactly what's happening in my day-to-day life. And
mm,
then furthermore, I asked myself this final question, which was, well, do I think that this way of being is conducive to making 500,000 or 1 million a year? And I'm like, no, it's not.
mm,
Because I was struggling with my energy as it was.
mm,
So in what reality is me continuing to do this strategy going to actually help me make more money? If
mm,
anything, like it's not going to happen. And so I really actually was like, it was a huge breakthrough for me, Kedge, because I was like, I got to drop this way of being that I adopted to be out of because of this trauma, I
mm,
guess you could say I went through. Like, I got to change these things because if I want to create this new chapter and actually go higher, I can't just be this tired, burnt out version of me. And so then, my bro, finally, I sat down in this visualization manifestation meditation and I thought of myself as the version of me that made the 500,000, but actually I was like feeling joyful, allowing myself to be joyful. Because you know, even my bro, the earnings that I've made this month and last, I haven't even looked at them. Like
mm,
that's how much I haven't. I used to really celebrate and be
mm,
like, there was a part of me that used to be like, oh my God, wow, like I
mm,
left corporate and this month I made this
mm,
amount of money. Wow. I used to get excited from that and be grateful for it. And that gave me the energy.
mm,
And I somewhere I lost that. And I'm like, man, I got to go back to those found like that blueprint, and I kind of was like, I went back, yeah, and it was cool, man. Like I went back to just like visualizing. it being that way and that moment when you make the 500,000, you're like, fuck, this is amazing. I'm so grateful. This is amazing, blah, blah. And then I brought it into my day to day in the now where I'm like, I'm grateful for what's already happened now. And it's like, it's really switched my way of being. And the end of the story is as soon as I did that, it was crazy. Within the next 48 hours, like all the
Mm,
money came to
mm,
me.
mm,
And yeah, man. So I think, man, like I hope that Manny or whomever is listening picks picks up some ideas from that story. But I would simply say that we sometimes have to be careful where we've adopted these models from, and we have to find our own unique path that works well for us.
mm.
In addition, yeah, man, that was a long story, but I'd love to hear
Yeah.
your
No, and 100%. And a couple of a statement and a question. I guess one, I think is like sometimes, as you said, there's a time where it's necessary because things are like, as you said, when you're in a tough place or to get started or whatever. Sometimes you do kind of need to be like that to get out of that hole or to get to a certain place. But then it's like at some point you got to catch yourself, and this that what served you then may not necessarily keep serving you moving forward. I guess is like ultimately what you're saying. The second part is obviously the actual money itself. When you're doing that, is it, obviously if you kind of visualize rather than the dollar figure, if you actually visualize what kind of life that now means you can live, would that be a different way to do it to kind of get into like the feeling part of it, or is it just more the feeling of the success and the happiness of achieving that outcome, or is it like yeah, what if you sunk that feeling into what that now means for you, like where you can now live, the type of things you can like now do, the choices you have, and feel that instead, or would that help in any way?
No, it's very lovely what you said. It's very lovely.
Yeah.
It's actually whatever helps you feel that feel like for everyone listening, because this is like this stuff works, man. This manifestation, visualization, affirmation, it works, man. Like Conor McGregor did it, Michael Jordan did it, Michael Jackson did it. You can Andre Agassi did it, Selena Williams. You can look at anyone, like so many people who really made it big
Mm,
and they were doing this, right? So a big time, not just once, big time. So man, it's to answer the question, Kedge, it's whatever helps you be the version of you that has achieved that goal. Because
mm,
what you want to be doing, and you can use this as a metaphor or however you want for the people who are listening, you want to basically be vibrating at the frequency of the
mm,
version of you who has achieved that. Because it's when you're vibrating at that frequency or you're being the version of you that has achieved that, it's going to guide your subconscious mind to make the little moves in the now to
mm,
create that to navigate
mm.
through the infinite realm of possibilities to get to that one. That's how it works.
Nah, yeah, nah, man, I'm on the same page, bro. I'm on the same wavelength, brother. So, uh, yeah, man, cool. How we doing for time?
Yeah, we hit it, man. We hit it, man. What a big episode today. I feel like a lot of talking from our boy Dim today.
It's good, man. No, you're good at articulating the wisdom. I think that's the one thing I want to figure out for myself is how to, because I feel like a lot of the stuff, like I know it, but I've struggled to articulate the same way you do. So it's easy for people to understand. So I just, yeah, I think that's something I want to keep working on. But 'cause I feel like I'm living it, but I don't know how to,
Right.
yeah, I'm living it. How to, yeah, how to articulate it in, I guess you've done all the little frameworks and you know how to like explain it all because I guess that's what you do. But
No,
yeah.
no, but I'm of the opinion, man. It's just answering questions. At the end, isn't that what coaching is? You're also answering questions, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
so the more you answer those questions, the more it forces you to frame it in your mind, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
Anything, man, Kedge, anything, I do kind of apologize because I do feel like I dominated this discussion today, but anything that you feel compelled to share or would like to speak to today?
No, honestly, nothing more, man. I think like might as well just round out today, and I guess repeat some of the stuff, I guess lessons to kind of walk away with. And for me, it's just like yeah, like some of the stuff that's the things that bring you joy, the things that guide your North Star. Like the main thing is don't let life happen and let it take that away from you. I guess you're right. I think that was kind of the theme of today's conversation for the most part. And like. And yeah, I guess parts. parts of it is faith, parts of it is just like even if you did achieve what you wanted to do, but in a different way, you wouldn't feel good about it anyway. Like, so just remind yourself that this is, try and get in alignment with that and just, yeah, just remind yourself of what that is and just trust that it will pay off. And I think that's, you know, I guess the main lesson from today, I think.
That's lovely, man.
Yeah. So,
That's lovely, man.
yeah. Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's it. So yeah, no, that's all I would love to say, man. And yeah, and I know I've said this in a few other episodes, and it's just funny how yeah, because a lot of this stuff can get very spiritual as well, and I think it all is, and it's weird how all these things intertwine because it's like the minute you kind of start operating from this place, it's all of a sudden your relationships get better, all of a sudden you start making more money, all of a sudden you can become healthier, and it's like it's not a linear path. So I think sometimes the faith in all these things and how you operate and all that things you said about vibrating and being the person you want to be before you are that person, all those things will make this stuff happen. And to be honest, the kinds of people listening to this, it probably does resonate. So I think just a reminder to do that. Because sometimes I feel weird saying this stuff. I'm like, who's listening? What are they going to think about what I'm saying? But it's like, it doesn't matter for the people that don't get it. Like, and if you don't, please ask questions because happy to talk about it. But I think most of the people here know it to a certain degree. So it's a reminder, I guess.
I think so, man. I sincerely just think that the people who are listening, like you can't be listening to this and not be at a level of something that it's something is resonating here, So I think that yeah, but for the people listening, I think we really appreciate all the feedback because we do get it pretty much from different people every week, which is super sweet. Any questions you want us to answer, we will do it happily. Um, I'm going to make sure that I'll drop the links. What I've done is I built. Okay, I don't know if you know. Oh, I mentioned it to you. I opened up a free school community where I've
Mm.
launched some free online courses, and I'm gonna put the link to the values process in there so people, and we'll put the link in the description so people listening, you guys can use that if you need help with your clarity on getting to know yourself and what you love. That's kind of what we were speaking about there. That's it from me. Kaj, anything else from you?
That's all from me this week. But it was a good one. I think, yeah, it was a really good conversation. Like, didn't know this is where it's going to go. I think there was a topic that we were going to talk about with you, which we've totally forgotten about. So maybe we'll revisit it, revisit it next week if we still feel compelled to talk about it. So, lovely chatting as always, man. And yeah, that was a good power packed episode. So, till next time.
Till next time. Thank you, everyone. See you.